A group of kids take matters into their own hands when they create a fake summer camp and convince an ex-drama teacher to pose as their camp counselor. With no rules and no parents, the kids have the ultimate freedom to do whatever they want. As they try to maintain the charade, hilarity and hijinks ensue, making for a summer they'll never forget at Camp Nowhere.
Welcome to Movie Friends. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Seth.
Today we are talking about Camp Nowhere from 1994. Directed by Jonathan Prince, written by Andrew Kurtzman and Elliot Wald, cinematography by Sandy Cecil, composed by David Lawrence, edited by John Wohl, costume design by Sherry Thompson, starring Jonathan Jackson, Christopher Lloyd, Andrew Keegan, Marnette Patterson, and Melody Kay. Hey Seth, welcome to May-chelle.
I am so excited for May-chelle.
Are you?
Yeah, the only downer is so far it's hot now in the room where I record.
Same.
Yeah.
So we're going to be reliving when we were sweating on screen. Remember feeling that? And just like literal drops of sweat falling down our...
I got a whole
Oh, wow, you're prepared.
roll of paper towels ready.
Wow.
Yep.
I have to say, like, in my head, I've been singing, like, it's gonna be May-chelle, my belle.
I haven't been singing that, but I have been excited, looking forward to this. Yeah.
Cool.
I think the people want more Michelle, and they're tired of me. And so this is like, give the people what they want for a month.
We'll see how the people feel after this month. Yeah. I like your shirt. Seth is wearing what it looks like to be a Hawaiian print shirt.
Yeah.
It's very
shirt.
summery. It feels very Camp Nowhere.
I want it to be camp ready.
Yeah. You feel a little Dennis.
No more beanie, by the way.
It's too hot for a beanie. So we got any emails?
We did. We got some emails. Hey, wait, hold on. Wait, sorry. I don't want to interrupt you. But before we go even further into the episode, we got to give a shout out to Marley.
Marley!
Signed up for Patreon this week.
We're so excited.
Marley's the host of Real Lovers Podcast, and that's REEL.
Cute.
And I guested on there a little while back. We talked about Disney's The Lion King.
Wow. So he's the one who got you to talk about Lion King.
Yes, he is.
Wow. Go Marley.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Marley.
Thank you.
Very cool. Okay. All right. Sorry. First email says, "Hey guys, it's your Welsh friend here, not English," with a laughing emoji.
Boy.
And I thought I would share why lawyers or solicitors in the UK wear wigs over here, which I learned from another podcast. So he's referring to me having so many problems with the guys in Last of the Mohicans wearing wigs.
Yeah, Wiggate.
The Brits. Yeah. The wig was seen as a symbol of authority, and solicitors would wear their wigs in the courtroom, as well as outside of it, to show their status and power. Some solicitors were hesitant to wear the wigs, but by the end of King Charles II's reign, wigs were fully accepted by judges. Isn't that wild?
Wow.
Can you imagine being like a semi-rule breaker guy wearing your wig, and everyone's like, I don't know about this. Hope this helps. Love the pod, especially the live brainstorming. Catch you on the next one, Michael Lee Lewis. P.S. Hope there's no spelling mistakes. The keypad on this phone is horrendous. P.P.S. That April Fool's joke was terrible to listen to when I'm at work.
Oh, no.
And P.P.S. Here are some snails. And then he sends like 8 snail emojis
that
you had requested.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Sorry to stress you out at work.
I know. I'm very curious about the live brainstorming. That makes me feel like, oh my God, what have we been saying and doing?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Live brainstorming about on the show.
I know. What have we been brainstorming about?
There are no storms going on in my brain.
Well, there's definitely storms going on in my brain, but I didn't realize I was expressing them on air and Seth was leaving them in.
I have a single solitary rain cloud that is dripping at all times.
You're a leaky faucet.
We have another email, and this is also referring to our Last of the Mohicans episode.
Ooh.
It says, love the narration of the pre-watch thoughts. I'm a man, Stan.
Oh my God.
Which I want to bring back up,
Okay.
but I'll finish reading.
Okay.
Being a wig scientist, I loved the wig talk. Great score, clapping emoji. P.S. Hot take, Philip Seymour Hoffman is greater than Daniel Day-Lewis, which I might agree with. P.S.S. I'm also not a huge period piece fan. P.S.S.S. This is my least favorite man movie. And this is from Ben.
Thank you, Ben. I didn't realize you were a wig scientist.
Oh, yeah. He's talked about it before. So you were mentioning how you kept forgetting that Michael Mann's last name was Mann.
Yes. Yes.
And as you were listening to our episode, you kept getting confused every time we would say it.
Right. It sounded like a caveman, like, man, make movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you want to be like Michael and Ben, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Let us know if we ruined your workday or if you also love wigs, whatever. Tell us your summer plans. Michelle, you got any summer plans?
I do have summer plans.
Any maybe like end of the summer plans?
I do have end of the summer plans. Happening out on the East End.
The East End of Long Island,
Yeah.
where the Great Gatsby once lived. I think. I don't know. I've never watched the movie or read the book.
I thought the Great Gatsby took place like heading
Was it
towards
Connecticut?
Nassau. No.
Really?
Wasn't it like the North Fork, but like Nassau? Nassau County?
Hey, again, I have not partaken in the Great Gatsby. I just know it's a rich Long Island guy.
Right. Yeah, I never read the book in school.
Speaking of rich Long Island guys, though, no, that's not a good segue.
Is this us brainstorming?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, you know who else didn't read a book in school? No. All right, third time's going to be a charm. Hey, we're doing another live show.
Wow. And you know what's so exciting? We can announce it. It's been announced because last week during our Q&A episode and our call-in show, patron and listener Kate, she called with one question. It was, when is the live show? And we couldn't deliver that information. And Kate, will you believe it? That night, we got the email that it was a go.
Yes. Like as we were recording that episode, we got the confirmation. And it just happened to come after Kate called in.
I know.
Hey, how about that episode though? Quick little divergent.
I mean, Seth, are you MVP always and forever? Yes, you are.
No, that was such a mess. But it was fun. It was great. It's always great to include our friends and hear from them, right?
I loved it so much. I really did.
I had asked you this a few weeks ago. Do you ever feel like we're like the most needy podcast hosts of all time?
Yeah. I mean,
like every week we're like, tell us what you think about this movie. Send us an email. Be our friend.
Praise.
Yes.
But yeah, we're doing a live show.
It's exciting. We are going to be doing this live show. It's sponsored by the Podcast Incubator at Stony Brook University.
That's right. Yep.
We're very excited. Michelle is an alumni of their program. We're super happy to work with them to do this show. And we're doing it on a movie that looms large in the hearts and minds of anyone born before 1996.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Space Jam. All right.
Yep. We're going to be doing Space Jam. We've already got some funny bits planned. I'm actually really excited. I'm more excited to do Space Jam than I was Shrek 2 because not that I think that Space Jam is an incredible film, but I won't have the burden of absolutely hating it
Right.
to work through. Yeah.
Right. And that was one of the qualifications of going through movies is you were hoping that our next live show wouldn't involve a movie that you hate. So I'm glad that we're not doing a movie that you hate.
Yeah. So this one's just going to be all wild antics, and you're going to want to be there. We will give out some more details later on, but just we want to put the word out there. September 21st, Long Island, New York. Make your plans now. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, Long Island in September, gorgeous.
Much better than Albany in January.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And Eastern Long Island in September, when the summer is over, it's like the best time to come. So make your plans. Great. Come hang out.
You could run into the Kardashians just walking around.
That was a random celebrity you pulled out. Why the Kardashians?
I figured they would come to our show.
Oh, can you imagine?
No, I think I'd be like, cancel the show. I'm sorry, everybody. You have to go home. I cannot do this in front of, because I mean, they could have Timothée Chalamet in tow.
Tim.
He's dating one of them,
no? No, is Kylie still with Timmy? I don't know about that.
Look, we got to move on.
Okay.
I don't know anything.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Can I tell you a quick little tidbit, though?
A Tim bit?
I have never, a Tim tidbit?
Yeah.
I have never seen an episode of any Kardashian anything. And I don't say that proudly. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm too good for them. I have no idea who they are, what they're like, beyond pictures of them in magazines.
I love the Kardashians.
And
I watched them, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and now I watch their new Hulu show. I love them.
Send us an email. Let us know if you think I should watch the Kardashians.
I don't think you should. So you don't have to send an email. Don't waste it on that. But send us something else.
I guess. Wow, I just got access denied. Well, Michelle just gatekeeped the Kardashians live.
I did.
Wow.
I did. I don't think you need to watch them.
Hi, I'm Steve Yurko.
And I'm Tara Sands. Now available from Maji Media is our new podcast, 4Kids Flashback. 4Kids is the company who brought you the English dub of Pokemon in the late 90s and so many other shows like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Shaman King, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kirby, the infamous One Piece dub, and so many more.
We'll be talking to the people who worked at 4Kids. Actors, directors, writers, editors, producers, engineers, you get the point. And hopefully get the answers to questions both you and I have about the company.
I actually worked there as a voice actor on some of the shows.
And I was a kid watching the shows and remember way more than Tara does.
And thank God for that. Steve is actually a professional storyboard artist, which gives some really unique insights into anime and animation. Subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts. That's the number 4 Kids Flashback.
All right, before we get into our discussion, we're going to predict each other's ratings, write them down, and we'll reveal them at the end. So here's my pen.
I have a pen too. I can't click as fast as you.
Your thumb has to move faster.
All right. Oof. I think I've gone like over the last few times, and so I think I'm going to keep it a little more conservative this time. We'll see.
All right. So you have seen Camp Nowhere before.
I have seen Camp Nowhere, yes, many times, but it had been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, and so usually before either of us watch a movie, we will record our pre-watch thoughts. And even though you've seen this movie, it has been a while, but you did record some thoughts before you watch. So let's listen to that.
Okay, so I'm going to watch Camp Nowhere, and I have not seen this movie in quite a long time, but we used to watch it when we were younger. It's probably on Disney Channel a lot. The one thing that I remember from this movie is when all the kids corner the main character and they just say, "Money, mud." And I've always hated that. I can't place why I've hated that, but... And then, of course, Christopher Lloyd, and I think at the beginning of the movie, he plays multiple characters to convince the parents to send the kids to camp. But then when it's like, bring your parent to parent week at camp, they have to like recreate all of the scenarios to fool the parents, I believe. So yeah, I have good memories of this movie. This is 90s kids movie stuff. It's gonna be good.
I have to tell you, when I listened to this, I screamed because Money Mud is burned into my brain.
Yes. Yes. In a good way or a bad way?
It always creeped me out.
Yeah.
So, but it's not in a bad way. It's just like something I always remembered from this movie. And when all the kids gather around, they have the flashlights next to their mouth and it's 2 a.m. and they're running around. But yeah, what did you think? Like, tell me about your experience. And you did pretty well in your rewatch thought. I mean, you pretty much nailed the movie down.
Well, on the Money Mud thing.
Yeah.
I think I've told you about how I feel about Santa Claus suits.
I
Like
don't believe so.
velvet. There's the feel of velvet. How
Okay.
it like just sends shivers up my spine and sets my teeth on edge.
Yes, I've
Like
heard
the
that
way
about
that people-
velvet, but like the fact that you just paired that with a Santa Claus suit is strange.
Well, okay. In my mind, it makes sense because I used to work in a costume store and I would have to take out all of the Santa suits and display them. And we would put up like 40 Santa suits.
Mhm.
And so it was a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Money Mud, the Money Mud scene to this day makes me feel so strange and uncomfortable in a way that I cannot explain. There must be some like deep repressed memory in my brain of a group of children surrounding me with flashlights on their faces demanding money from me or something. I don't know why. I hate that moment.
Wow. Have you always hated it? Can you
Yes.
share with
As a
me
kid,
your
it always
first-
made me so awkward.
Okay, can you share with me your experience with this movie? I shared last week. I mean, if you're new here and you're just tuning in, I'm curating this entire month. So these are all movies that mean a lot to me and that I love. And we're starting with Camp Nowhere, a movie that was probably most rented by my sister and I from Blockbuster. We watched
Wow.
every summer. I love, 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 love this one. But I have to say, a lot of people in my life have never seen it before. So I was shocked to hear that you've actually seen this as a kid.
Yeah. We liked this movie. We definitely rented this as kids, probably multiple times. And then, if I recall, this was one that played on Disney Channel a lot.
Mm-hmm. I don't
And so
remember, but yeah.
Yeah. I remember it fondly. Like we liked it as kids. Rewatching it this time, I was struck by one, how ridiculous the premise is, which I'm sure we will talk about.
We will talk about it. Yeah.
But two, I think that Christopher Lloyd is like knocking it out of the park in this movie when he is playing Dennis. When Dennis is doing all of the silly characters, it's still fine. Like it's kid movie, goofy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when he's Dennis, he's so reserved and like his humor comes from a more like charming, cool guy place, which we're not used to seeing from Christopher Lloyd's big roles, like Fester, Uncle Fester, or Doc Brown, or Dennis the Menace, right? Or even Taxi. It's all these like big characters. And then when he's just Dennis, I was just cracking up at like so many things that he was saying, looks that he was giving. I loved it.
Was there a particular scene where Dennis was being Dennis that got you the most?
I love, and this is, oh my God, so disgusting. I hate in movies and TV shows when people are brushing their teeth.
Oh my God.
And the stuff is all over.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hate that too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you brush your teeth, do you have toothpaste
No.
all on the outside of your mouth? No.
No. That takes effort to do that.
Or the least possible amount of effort.
Well, no, to make a mess like that, I don't understand it. But yes, continue.
I've never understood when they're like, all right, and the audience will know you're brushing your teeth, not because you're brushing your teeth, but because you have an inch wide white film around your lips. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I hate it. Ugh.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Mhm.
but just when he opens the door and he's brushing his teeth and he looks at Mud and he's like, "Hi," like I was like, that's funny. And when Mud is eating the lima beans and he's like, "A buck a bean," and then he's like, "I wouldn't want you to choke." I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, all of it, all of it.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite character that he portrayed? He's doing so much in
Yeah.
this movie. Like when we first meet him, well, when Mud first meets him, he's selling cheese or cheese-like product
Okay.
in the mall.
Okay.
Spray cheese, fake cheese.
There are multiple employees of a Cheese Whiz stand.
Yeah.
It's not just one. You know, you walk through the mall and there's the little stands. There's one person in that little thing. There are like 4 people manning the Cheese Whiz stand, and there's a presentation.
Uh-huh.
It's insane.
Yeah. But that's when we meet him. That's his first like character.
He gives Mud a look after his presentation where he kind of goes like,
Yeah.
you know, like, "Hey man, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do."
That's right.
And even that I really liked and appreciated. You know, he's just like slightly identifying with this kid and like pulling back the mask of this character. I think my favorite would probably be the Richard Simmons character.
Yeah, for Camp Sleekaway.
Yes, I think I've talked about on the show before that I used to do Richard Simmons tape exercises with my mom. Have I ever told you that story?
No. I
No?
love this visual though so much.
Long story short, when I was a kid, I was, you know, super, super thin. And my best friend who lived next door moved away. And I basically stopped playing outside. And so, you know, your body is used to like all this exercise and then it just goes to like 0. And so I gained a lot of weight as a kid. And my mom was very, you know, not like this mom who is the devil by the way, she is the villain of this movie. But
she is. Yeah.
Anyway, my mom was very nice, and you know, you want to make sure that your kid is healthy, and so we would do these Richard Simmons exercise tapes, which I don't know if you've ever seen.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that I loved it. I don't want to say that I loved doing it, probably because I was like a little fat kid trying to, you know, do these exercises. But I did love like the production of them and like Richard Simmons himself, just how he was very like motivating and happy and crazy and wild. And so watching Christopher Lloyd's Richard Simmons whole bit in this just reminded me of that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
That's really freaking sweet. And there is something really comforting about Richard Simmons.
Yeah. I think for people around our age group, I think
that's true. Yeah.
I think if you were older, you would look at him and be like, oh, what a nerd. And if you're younger than us, you would look at him and be like, what the heck is a home exercise video?
Right. Okay. So to go back to Dennis, I just want to talk about why he is wanted, because this is ridiculous to me. He is wanted for not making payments on his car. He owes 43 more payments, and the debt was sold to Bulldog Collections, who Polk works for. And his goal is to retire with a perfect record. And so he wants to make sure he collects these payments.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That is what that is what he's wanted for. This is crazy to me. I don't think I ever truly paid attention to like the logistics of why Dennis is in trouble. No.
You just know that the net is like closing in on the camp. You know, like that's I think the gist that you get as a kid. It's so crazy. Which he apparently dodged payments for years and still only owes $2,200 or $2,800.
It's such a small amount. It's such a small amount.
Right. Like if you dodged your payments for years now, you would owe tens of thousands of dollars. But anyway.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is a ridiculous setup. How Polk finds him is even more ridiculous. Once they're at the camp, he goes to the Cheese Whiz store, talks up the person at the front, pretends he's interested in cheese, and then goes to a corkboard where Dennis has mailed the Cheese Whiz coworkers a postcard.
Yes. But then that picture that Polk shows Elliot, played by Tom Wilson, which we will get to because we're having a reunion here. The picture of, do you recognize this guy? And it's like a cartoon with Dennis's face on it. It's comical. And I'm like, am I missing something here? This is the picture we grab. It's so silly. It's so silly.
It's absurd. But you know what? It makes sense because if he was wanted for any other reason, it would change the whole, oh, I've kind of kidnapped 40 kids. So, like, what can he be wanted for that's very benign?
That's such a good point. Yeah.
So it's, missing car payments on a gremlin. That's quirky and charming. Not, oh no, Dennis has a crazy weird past.
Right. This whole idea of recruiters representing summer camps. Coming to your house, coming into your home, presenting a VHS, a video for you to view the camp, and then it's $3,000 for the summer. This is crazy to me. And if any of our listeners attended summer camp in the 90s, and if this is what the process was like, please tell me. Because I went to summer camp, but like I'm pretty sure my mom found it in the paper, signed me up, and I went. Like no one was coming into my house to recruit me.
Yeah, and the video doesn't have like narration. Like the guy is having to do the narration live over the video.
Right.
Which I was like, man, you would have had to practice that to have it down perfectly, to sync with the video. This is too much work. Even for $3,000 a kid. That's why your camp costs $3,000. You have a live presentation?
It's crazy though. This isn't just computer camp. This is Camp Broadway and military camp. And then the Slender camp. So we have like these 4 different camps that recruiters are coming into the homes and trying to get the kids to attend this specific camp.
Yeah, we went to like Bible camp. And so there was no presentation. It was like a week long.
Yeah.
And you went, and what camp did you go to?
I went to Rolling Hills Day Camp. It was in Coram.
So it wasn't like a sleepaway camp?
No, it was a day camp.
I went to a day camp in Coram too.
I know. Imagine. We were the same summer camp.
That would have been wild.
That would have been wild. Wait, I'm going to find a picture and you're going to be in the background. Like, is that Seth?
Look for the chubby kid dressed like Richard Simmons.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. But to talk about camp, I hated camp. I was not one who loved going. I had 2 friends, and my favorite part was I got to eat a bagel for lunch every day. So
nice.
That is what I loved about camp. So I can't imagine having to be recruited to go to one of these 4 camps. I'd be miserable.
If you had to go to one of them, though, which would you go to out of the 4?
Probably at the time, if this is 12-year-old Michelle, computer camp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was playing Sims and we just had the internet. So what about you?
I have no idea. I would not have gone to Camp Broadway. I was not into...
Yeah, because
now I would go to Camp Broadway.
Well, same. I would go to Camp Broadway now, too. But like we were... Okay, you have to pretend you're 12 because in 94, we were like 7 years old. So...
Yeah, if I was 12, honestly, I would maybe pick the military camp.
What?
Not that I was into the military or anything, but it just would sound more fun. Like, Camp Slender Eyes doesn't sound fun.
No kid wants to go to Slender Camp.
In computer camp, I would be like, no, I don't want to learn about computers. So I'd probably be like, yeah, I'll go to military camp, go outside.
Wow.
Get shot at.
Wow.
I know, that kind of surprised me too. I didn't expect that answer.
Yeah. Let's talk about our core 4. We have Mud, Zach, Trish, and Gabby. And the hierarchy of how these 4 work.
I saw someone say, this group of friends at the beginning of the movie is like the group of friends that you would normally get at the end of a 90s kids movie. like the bully and the nerd. Like, how are they all already friends? They're in very different friend groups, right?
Yeah.
And at the beginning, Andrew Keegan is like having to pretend to give Mud a swirly to keep up appearances.
Yep.
Because I guess he has like turned into a bully but didn't used to be.
Right. That's what I was gathering.
It was a weird scene to like start the movie off on. It was weird.
Yeah, and Mud is 12. He's 12,
Yeah.
which blows my mind. 12 years old. Zach is 14.
Yeah, I had friends who were a little older than me.
Yeah. So to
But-
me, like Gabby's also 12 and maybe Trish is also 14.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you're really young, you can't cross the romantic lines from too many years.
No.
Nowadays, I'm 35. And so if I dated someone who was 2 or 3 years older or younger, I'd be like, yeah, okay, it's all the same. When you get older, it's just like doing laundry and not caring about the colors mixing. You're like, whatever, man, put it all in there. But when you're like 12,
Yeah.
if you're dating a 14-year-old, that's like, oh my gosh, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. It's funny to me that we see them hanging out outside of school. They even get off the bus and walk with each other. So it's like we're only keeping up appearances in the hallway, but not
Yeah, I thought of that too.
Directly outside of school. You literally are getting off the bus and walking with each other.
I was like, what
So
if a kid
weird.
rides by on the bike?
I know.
You gonna like suddenly just punch Mud? Like,
Right. So they get this idea to form their own summer camp because Mud sees Dennis selling cheese. And he's like, wait, that's the guy. He's an ex-drama teacher. So they approach him with this idea at his trailer. And they offer him $1,000.
yep.
Which is equivalent to $2,000 today. $1,000. Would you do this for $1,000?
The only thing I will say about this whole plot thing, kudos to this movie. It was like 8 minutes before the plot is hatched and put into motion. We're flying through the beginning of this movie. And I was like, thank you, movie, for not spending all this time. I don't need to get to know these kids. Whatever. It's like, and there's no deliberation. Like Mud's like, wish we could get our own camp. And everyone's like, let's do it. No hurdles. There's 0 obstacles in this movie. It's like, let's get these kids to this camp. No, I would not do this for $2,000 today. I would do this for like $100,000.
I can't imagine approaching an adult and being like, yo, I'll give you $1,000 if you help us out for 8 weeks. What do you say? What a deal. Meanwhile, if the kid's parents are paying $3,000 per kid and you're only offering $1,000, I guess because you have to rent the space too.
Yeah, you have to rent the space, but you're not staffing. Like,
I know.
You're buying Pop-Tarts and Twinkies. It's nuts. It's crazy. This is like one of the craziest setups for a kid's movie. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that he goes along with it. I mean, okay, so 8 weeks at $1,000 with incredible risk, and it's not like he's oblivious. It's not like they dupe him, right?
No, he's in on
once
it.
once the fuzz shows up, he's like, Mud, if they catch you, you'll get spanked. If they catch me, I'm going to jail for life. Like he knows the risks, and he still does it for $1,000 for 8 weeks. You're gonna tell me that at the Cheese Whiz stand, he is making less than $200 a week?
This is what I wanted to know.
What's this guy's rent on his
Right? Unless he owns
on his trailer? It doesn't make any sense. Right?
No.
Yeah, he plopped it by the power factory, and no one has bothered him since. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyway.
And so Christopher Lloyd, Dennis, is doing all of the things. He's acting all of the parts. He convinces these parents. He pulls off 4 different characters.
All the pre-work.
All the pre-work. And this is the first time we're doing the pre-work because we then do it again.
Yeah.
We then do it again. And what got me the most... What? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, the numbers are off. Like the person who finalized this draft was drunk, because you just need to add a 0 and it makes sense. If you're like, hey, we'll give you $10,000,
Yep.
which obviously that would be all their money, but whatever. Push some numbers around, movie makers, and this becomes more believable. But $1,000? Okay, sorry.
No, you're right. And then when we get to Zach's house and his dad is finally convinced that Zach needs to go to this particular military camp, he asks Lloyd's character for Camp Steelgrave, do you want check or plastic? And he goes,
Oh, yeah.
cash. And we have we're not questioning this. We're just handing
Right.
over a wad of cash. I know that seems silly, but that really
No,
got me.
it is all silly. It's all silly. I will say camps are extremely expensive, especially like an 8-week camp. I looked into a camp for my oldest son that was like kind of like Camp Broadway. Like it's like music themed, and they put together performances, and none of their prices are listed. So I get this guy, I'm like, hey, I was wondering about prices. And he's trying to ask me all these questions and I'm like, dude, just tell me how much it is. And it was like $14,000.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, thank you. And I hung up the phone and said, my child will never go to camp.
Camp Seth is what he's going to attend this summer.
He's going to do his own Camp Nowhere.
That's right.
Maybe I will end up being Dennis.
You could do it. I can't believe they actually are able to find a space that's available. It's this old commune. You belong out there in the 60s, and we're good to go. It's by an Air Force base, so you get a plane going on over at 5:15 every day. This is wild.
Great. Burgess Meredith, the actor, plays the dude. He's here in and out. I thought we'd get more of him, like showing up and being like, hey, how's it going, everybody? No, you can't cut a hole in the wall with a chainsaw. But no, he takes the money and runs.
Yeah, he doesn't care. No questions asked. No problem. And so, like, at this point, Walter, who, I don't know if you noticed, Walter has braces in the beginning of the movie, and then by the time we get to camp, they're gone.
I did not notice that.
Like, in the middle of camp, they're gone. Yeah, one of Mud's buddies, I don't know if he's such a buddy, but Walter is supposed to go to computer camp, and word gets out because he told Betty Stoller, that the 4 of them aren't going to camp, and now they all want to go. So the whole every kid is going to camp for $3,000 a pop.
This is also ridiculous because Walter shows up at his door and he's like, hey, I know what's going on. And Mud's like, no, you don't. And then he's like, that camp you said you're going to? It doesn't exist. And he like holds up a piece of paper and I'm like, Walter, what research did you do? And based on that, Walter has told everyone and they all show up. He doesn't for a second think, oh, maybe Mud got the name wrong. No. Oh, no.
No.
He uncovers the whole plot. Walter is such a creep.
I know, he's such a creep.
Movie. Did you watch all the way to the end of the credits?
Yeah.
Because I did not mean to. And I just kind of let the credits roll. And it ends with him yelling, Betty! Like a second time.
Yeah, because she takes his swimsuit. Because the whole summer he's just wanting to skinny dip with her.
Yeah, obsessed. A very odd B plot for the kids movie that one of the kids at every turn is like, let's go skinny dipping.
It is really creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But those kids that show up, right? You mean to tell me that they're all assigned to one of those 4 camps?
No.
How is the money given out? Did Dennis have to go present himself to each of those houses to get the money?
You know how we say on this show, like, oh, you can't think about it. You have to kind of just. But with this one, I almost feel like thinking about it is actually more fun because it's just such a ridiculous setup. And like I said, it just happens. It's like boom, 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 boom. Like, get them to this camp.
Yeah. And they get to the camp. And Dennis is like, I'll see you in 8 weeks. I'll be at the cabin.
That threw me for a loop. I'll
see you in 8 weeks.
I didn't remember that part. I didn't remember that from being a kid. When when he's like, Mud comes to him and he's like, so, you going to go down by the water? And Dennis is like, yeah, man, have the best summer of your life. I'll see you later. And it's like, wait,
That's it.
oh my God. Yeah.
That's it. And so Mud comes up with camp rules where you have to send letters home to your parents once a week. If anyone speaks to you in town, you have to pretend you don't speak English. And then if you find a Taco Bell, you have to tell Mud.
Right.
Which I thought was so funny.
I want to quickly mention
Yeah.
Dennis used to be a high school teacher, drama
teacher.
teacher.
Yeah.
And we get some of that when we're talking to the doctor later. And Trish says that he got fired because he tried to do The Silence of the Lambs as a musical.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Mud is holding on to everybody's money. And this is where the money Mud comes in.
Yeah.
And so he just opens up his wallet and everybody starts to grab and it has to last them the whole summer. And so these kids get trucks from Circuit City to deliver anything and everything you can imagine as a kid. And I'm like, these are not red flags flying off. We're delivering a chainsaw and the guy's like, who ordered a chainsaw?
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Nobody's questioning anything. What the heck?
Chainsaw guy shows up with a chainsaw that is on with fuel in it.
Yes.
He then sees no adults, hands it to a kid and is like, all right, good luck, and walks away. It's crazy. I actually had a nightmare from this movie. Mm-hmm.
Are you going to share?
I fell asleep after watching this movie and this chainsaw scene. And I had a dream that I was in a compound like Camp Nowhere, but it was the family from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I had to use chainsaws to cut them up into pieces so that I could escape.
Wow.
Camp Nowhere and its faulty logic literally gave me nightmares.
Gave an adult, upon rewatching, nightmares.
Yeah. But yes, they order. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess $3,000 could buy a lot of stuff. And there are, how many kids would you say there? Like 25?
Yeah, maybe 30, give or take.
Yeah. So, 3,000 times 30. We're talking almost $100,000.
Yeah, but they also had to pay for the space.
That's true. Knock
and then
off $1,000 for Dennis.
Yeah, did they give Dennis more because more people signed on? That had to have been in the contract with Dennis. The contract, quote unquote.
It doesn't say, they never have that conversation. He never like, hey, Mud, I noticed there's a lot more children here than there were last time. You think you could throw me some of that Taco Bell?
To me, I don't think Dennis would ask. He'd be like, whatever. I'm spending the summer at a cabin.
Yeah. It's like a vacation that I get paid for. Yeah.
Yeah. A measly $1,000.
But yeah, so I mean, I guess for like $100,000, you probably could buy a few trucks of toys and TVs and stuff like that.
I mean, when you get the order, you're Circuit City and you get the order and you go to deliver it, you're not questioning, like, signing off on this.
Yeah, and it's all cash too. Like,
right. And like, did you have to call by catalog? Like, how are you placing this order?
Right. It would make more sense if they came back from like a trip in town and they had like bags and bags and bags.
Right.
But I mean, doesn't give us the same visual effect of truck doors opening. And that was another thing. When the trucks show up, the kids hop into the truck. Right. It's like, wait. Kid, get out of my truck. You don't work for Circuit City.
Watching as an adult, some things that truly icked me out was them jumping off the roof onto the dirty mattresses.
Oh, disgusting. Disgusting.
We never see a bathroom. We never see a shower. So are they just like bathing in the lake? I don't know. How clean is this place? Probably not that clean. It's probably smelly too. I mean, at one point we have like mud Olympics because we have a rainy day and
right.
They call for Dennis's help and I'm like, what did you guys, where do you wash? How are you washing your clothes?
That scene annoyed me because they have one rainy day. Now, they've bought a giant screen TV. They've bought all this crap. It's not like every day it rains, you're just like, I'm going home. Like, there's stuff to do inside.
Yeah.
Like, that it was like just rain that brings them all to the point of like, we're throwing in the towel. We're turning you in mud. Like, we're going home. But yeah, I loved the Mud Olympics and Dennis bringing in like ancient Roman Olympic stuff. And I thought that was fun.
Yeah, and the puppets were cool too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he saved the day on that.
They should have just paid him more to hang out with them.
Like, curate the whole camp.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, right? Like, you think it's a great idea to be on your own, but then you realize, oh, I'm a kid. And
Right.
by week 3, 4, it gets old. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm bored.
What do you think the message of this movie is, if there is one?
I've been thinking about this. I'm not going to lie.
I've been thinking about it too. Because, well, I don't want to jump ahead, but just what you said just made me think of, like, is the message do this? Is the message don't do this? Because
I think it's take a chance. I think it's take a chance.
All of the kids are kissing and hugging and everyone gets a happy ending. Dennis drives away in a new car?
Built by Zach.
Built by Zach? And okay, which like, yeah, Dennis, you're really you're a trusting guy. Zach in his free camp time has been building a car and you're just going to drive away in it. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to say here.
I think the message is take a chance, believe in yourself, and don't rush away your childhood. You might think you want to be an adult and grow up and have responsibility, and don't rush it because it's going to come soon enough. Maybe that's me trying. I'm pulling at straws here.
Right. No, there is some of that with Mud when he's like, oh my God, I sound just like my parents. And
yeah, the responsible one.
Because part of me was like, is this movie just made by people to be like, hey, kids, look how much you suck? Like, I don't know. Because like they all band together to pull off the big heist, fake 4-camp thing.
Yeah.
And they do it, but then it all comes to nothing anyway.
And there's not really a lot of repercussions.
No one presses charges.
No. And even Mud's dad is like, you're grounded till you're 30, but here's a comic book because I heard you.
Right. Hey, I like comics now, by the way.
This is a good one.
Yeah. And that was also weird because like this dad, he's wearing like the inverted Cosby sweater thing. He's got the glasses. He's into computers. You're telling me this guy wouldn't be into comic books?
I know.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I guess it's a waste of time. You're going to waste away your potential with comic books.
You just have so much potential.
How'd you feel about the 4th of July celebration? These kids are rowdy.
I would definitely partake. I don't love swimming, but coming down like a little boardwalk thing and jumping into the water covered in fireworks, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, on a skateboard or something, or rollerblades. Yeah. I'm into it.
Mud getting hurt. I felt those wounds were quite superficial. I think he was playing it up a little bit. I also agree.
I'm glad you say that because I rewound it and I went back and I'm like, how does he actually get hurt? And he kind of just like rolls over and gets like a little burn and they freak out. And so that's why he has to go to the doctor. And that's when we meet Celeste. And so was that just the storytelling device? So, we have another love layer in here.
Right. We have to. Yeah. I mean, you need tension and you need conflict. And so it's like, well, we need to bring another adult into this so that we have, and not that I didn't like the Dennis stuff. Cause like I said, I did, but like when we're doing the whole Mud helping Dennis lie to the doctor for a romantic plot, that's when I looked at the runtime and thought, yeah, we don't need this. We could trim up Camp Nowhere a little bit.
Yeah.
There was a really funny line. I can't remember who said it. I think it might be Walter. When Mud gets hurt, he says, "Who would think something like this could happen from harmless flares and Roman candles?" There were a few good, like, non-goofy kid line deliveries in this movie.
Oh,
Later
yeah.
on, when the one kid confesses, the cops bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "They tortured me." That had me laughing too.
I thought the kids did a great job in this movie, especially Jackson, who's portraying Mud. I thought he was a really good kid actor.
Yeah, it's like verging on. It's like a little too old to be Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, so it's not like,
Yes.
he's a cute little kid. This is like a in between 12-year-olds. It's like, I do like the actor. Did you ever watch Tuck Everlasting
I haven't. No.
with Alexis Bledel?
No.
Good movie. Good movie.
I'll take your word for it.
Did you recognize Allison Mack?
Oh, yeah. Did you catch Jessica Alba's quick cameo?
That really, yeah. I
As
was
Gail, she's just like making out with a guy in the woods when it rains. And Mud's like, "Hey, Gail." And you
Yeah.
quickly see her face when they're like through a montage when they're setting up for the
Yeah.
camps.
Yeah.
That's it.
Afterwards, I went through the cast list and I was like, Jessica Alba. And then when I
Yeah.
watched it again, I was like, oh, yeah, she is totally in this.
Yeah.
And if she didn't go on to become Jessica Alba, probably we wouldn't
No.
ever know, because there's all these kids that we don't have names to.
Right. But to me,
Excuse me.
just to go back to Mud, as a kid, I had such a crush on Mud.
Oh, really?
To me, Mud was like, he's the nerdy one, the responsible one. He's mature. He has like this sweet rapport with Gabby. I was like, Mud would be my type of dude who I think would go for a young Michelle. Zach,
Interesting.
out of my league. Wouldn't even bat an eye at me.
Zach is the annoying pre-teen, early teen kid actor of the 90s thing. Like, the whole time I was just like, Zach, take off the leather jacket. Like, enough.
I mean, to have the conversation that you're going to drop out of school at 14.
Again, I'm like, movie, what are you saying to me? Like, what is this? Like, who is this plot line for? Like, we're keeping along Zach and what's her name?
Trish.
Zach and Trish with a will they, won't they, will he drop out of school? And I'm like, okay, like, this is, I don't know. Odd, just odd.
Yeah, I think it just adds in for like preteens, teenagers.
Yeah.
We like to see that.
I hope I'm not coming off as being like hypercritical of this movie. Like, I'm not.
No, I think we're
Genuinely.
both on the same page, Seth.
So Gabby, I was in on that storyline. Her mom is the devil who thinks that Gabby is overweight, which, do you think... So when her mom shows up later, she's like, oh my God, you lost so much weight. Do you think in the movie Gabby actually did lose weight? Or do you think that her mom is just like seeing her different?
Oh, wow.
Because throughout the movie, she's wearing a lot of like puffy clothes.
Yeah,
and then
she's
in that
wearing baggy
scene,
clothes.
she's not.
Right.
And so was the movie trying to trick us into thinking that like Gabby lost weight over the summer and because she's cooking omelets?
I think so. That's how I've always taken it. It always bothered me because to me, Gabby is not heavy at all. Even when she's wearing like baggy overalls, she's not a heavy set person, or her frame, she doesn't carry the weight. And I also loved Gabby when I was a kid because I felt like I could relate. But yeah, I think it came of like Gabby taking ownership and just started eating and preparing real food.
Yeah.
And so her mom, and she wore like a fitted dress. It's this part of the story is like icky. It's very icky.
It's icky, but it's like the one that I'm kind of most interested in. And I wish that it was fleshed out more. And like that question that I asked you, I wish that was more clear, because then I would know like, okay, well now movie, what are you trying to say about this? Because when her mom is, praising her for losing weight, Gabby's like, why don't you go have one of the cupcakes? And it's the disgusting cupcakes that they're making for the weight loss camp. And so she is still like mad at her and like getting back at her through that. And so you don't see the movie doesn't make us think that Gabby is happy that Gabby has lost weight or not, and like everything her mom is saying.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have a big moment of like, oh my God, yes, I did lose weight. I'm happy now. She's like, you know what, Mom? Yeah, why don't you go eat one of those liver cupcakes?
Yeah. Liver cupcake. Yeah, I mean, I always felt like Gabby never felt that she was this person that her mom saw her as.
Yeah. Yeah.
She kind of only viewed herself as like the nerdy version of Mud.
Right. Yeah, I wish there was more. I wish there was more to that. That's, by the way, why Heavyweights rules so much, because it's about kids at a fat camp who are actually overweight.
Are we going to watch Heavyweights? Is that what we're getting at?
Hey, you never know.
Okay. I look forward to it. Before we get into setting up the 4 camps, I just want to talk about when Zach goes to buy beer.
Oh my God.
And he gets caught. And the guy says you have to be 19 in this state to purchase beer. And so I looked up, like, what state allowed you to buy alcohol at 19 in 94? And I was getting like conflicting.
Do they mention upstate New York? Because don't they say, like, one of the sets of parents...
Trish's parents say, oh, upstate. But that doesn't sound
could be
right
upstate
either.
Pennsylvania, too. Do people in other states say upstate?
I've always wondered that.
If you live at the bottom of Wyoming, do you say, oh, we're going upstate?
I mean, it's just a direction, right?
Well, yeah. And it's not even in a direction. We should be saying we're going north state. Up isn't north.
Up is north, though.
No. Well, colloquially, you know what I'm saying.
I don't. That's such an SAT word.
No, I'm more used to spelling this word than saying it out loud. But, you know, in our slang, up is north. But like east and left and right and west, it's not real directions. North isn't up. North is north. Well, yeah, me too.
Okay, so they go to try to buy beer. Doesn't go well. Dennis he's also in the store. He's like, oh yes, I'll be your dad. Zach says, I'm buying alcohol for my dad who needs it. They get the beer. We're not, like, all these kids are now getting beer. Elliot is after them, played by Tom Wilson, who's such a goonberry. Tom Wilson. He's such a goonberry compared to, you know, seeing him and Christopher Lloyd in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I mean, we go from Biff to this character.
I actually found it kind of refreshing that he's not, because he's playing a police officer who is suspicious. He could just be doing Biff again.
Right.
And he doesn't. Like, they do something different with it. So I liked it. But yeah,
I liked it too, but he's so he's just so unsure of himself. Mm-hmm. It's like he's new to the force. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed all their interactions, especially the whole car wash scene.
If you've ever seen footage
Your face.
that seems like it was specifically shot to be put into a movie preview, it is the car wash scene from Camp Nowhere. I mean, right?
It makes me LOL belly laugh because of the way Christopher Lloyd is acting in this sequence. What he's doing with his face, and of course he's going through a car wash, so it makes sense for how he's acting, but like legitimately I laugh so hard. I love it.
I remember this scene, and when we got to it, I was like, okay, I know what this is, but I feel like I enjoyed it more as an adult. I was like, okay, yeah, they got Christopher Lloyd and they're getting their money's worth for him, you know? And like just thinking about, okay, what is the temperature of this water? What are they putting in? Obviously it's not soap, but just thinking of myself, right? Mm-hmm. You're getting water shot. You're getting like waterboarded, basically. You're having to move. I mean, the setup for this, again, is so stupid that his pant leg gets caught in the door, like whatever. But he's getting whipped in the face and he's still doing all these lines. Like, I'm wondering how long they filmed this for. How many takes did it take? You know, I don't want to say it's impressive, but
It is impressive. Give it
It's
to the
more than
man.
just
It's impressive.
Yeah.
As Seth says it so reluctantly.
How do they get away? Like, he comes out with the hot wax, and Thomas F. Wilson is just like, hey, wait. Like, I'm sorry, but you would be dead. You would need an ambulance.
Okay, so the kids decide they're going to come up with the greatest scam of all time because the parents do want to end up visiting their kids at camp. The way this is pulled... Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Mud and Gabby have a scene together where they promise to date, right, later on in life. And Gabby says to him, it's okay for a boy to be geeky. For a girl, it's different. And I was curious how you felt about that.
Yeah, I definitely related when I was a kid about that. Because I feel like, we get judged for everything. As if we're a geek, it's just like added on. If you don't look a certain way, if you don't act a certain way, if you do act a certain way, I feel like boys can just like, at the time, go under the radar. And if they're nerdy, then they're nerdy and they find they're nerds. But you can be made fun of by girls and guys. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Or how did you feel about it? I mean, obviously I don't feel that way anymore as an adult.
Oh, I still feel that way as an adult. Yeah, I don't think women are allowed to be nerds. Like, if a guy's a nerd, it's like, that's a nerdy guy, But like, if a lady is a nerd in the same way, it's like a pariah of society. I don't know. This line, I don't want to say it hit me hard this time, but I was like, yeah, there is a huge double standard for women and men, and if they're allowed to be a geek or not, and how we view them.
That's true. I mean, I definitely can agree to that. I think I'm thinking of it from the lens of like a 12-year-old Michelle, and I didn't have the confidence to be proud I was a geek, nerd.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about just like, I like superhero movies, but like more like Mud's thing where he hasn't found his voice yet. And no one listens to, and like that type of like nerd,
Yep. Yeah, it's like we're feeling repressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Mud just wants to play baseball. He just wants to go to baseball camp and read comic books. Okay, so let's get into the greatest scam of all time.
Right. They start getting word that the parents are coming. They have 4 different phone machines set up. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah.
So that means we have 4 different phone lines at this at this commune that has had no residents in a long time.
The plot of this movie is a wet paper towel.
It's so fantastic. It's so great. Yeah. It's so great. Okay, so they have these 4 phone lines. All the parents are going to come. We have Camp Alpha Charlie, Shakespeare Hollow, Camp Sleekaway, and Binary Pines Camp, which is the military camp.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it all in the same day. It's not like they could have spread it out, but they decided to do it all in the same day with very specific time slots. You have the twins the twins deserve their own show.
Yeah, the twins are interesting. Yeah.
They feel like Simpsons characters.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's so elaborate, and the resources and tools these kids have to pull this off like blew my mind.
$100,000 goes a long way.
I guess.
I think we're still trying to capture the magic of Home Alone.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? It's like, and then we'll have a big set piece at the end of the movie, which is Home Alone,
Yeah.
Remember when we watched Home Alone and we were like, we thought that the home invasion scene was like 90% of the movie, and it's actually like the last 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing here. You have all this buildup, and then it's like, okay, now here's the big fool the adults, hit them with bags of flour and all the, whatever. Yeah. Doesn't work quite the same here, but.
No, I mean, it's impressive of how they get the signs to change and how like everything seamlessly just seems to be working out until, the end where Polk and Elliot join forces and show that cartoon. Just to go back to the top of the show of us talking about that cartoon image of Dennis. Like, do you know this man? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
When we get to the end, do you have anything else to add before we get to the end?
Zach's dad like being put in that hole and then like getting shot at. Like, I get that you show up and like you think it's real, but like this guy's acting like he's in a real foxhole, actually getting shot at with bullets. Like, this was the most absurd. You don't need to just show the kids wearing fatigues and doing jumping jacks. Like, I don't know. This was the one that didn't make a lot. I mean, I guess none of it makes a lot of sense. But
I think Zach just wanted to torture his dad because he's been tortured.
right.
Also, it just seems that Zach's dad was the only one visiting for military camp.
Yeah, I think generally not a lot of people send their kids to military camp, so that's probably why.
Yeah. And then like all the parents visit for this one specific event to see their kid either in a play, go in the hole, do a workout, see the computer being used, and then they leave. It's not like we're trying to spend time with our kid.
No,
It's weird.
Like I said, it doesn't work. It's flimsy. It's funny. I almost think it would be better to just space them out on 4 days. You can still show the kids rushing to change things.
Right.
And you can still end up with the parents discovering what happened. I mean, I guess all the parents wouldn't be there at the same time, but telephones exist. I don't know. I'm so far gone trying to make sense of Camp Nowhere. I don't know what I'm doing.
The last thing we have to make sense of is at the end, Dennis is going to take off, but then he ends up like owning up to it. And then Mud is the one who actually owns up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mud pays off Dennis's debt. And then everyone just rides off into the sunset and they make like Mud and Dennis have this exchange of like, oh, $20,000. How can we scheme next? And Dennis rides off with Dr. Celeste in the convertible that Zach built. Mud and Gabby share a kiss. Zach isn't going to drop out and rides home with Trish. We have Kid, Electric Guitar Kid playing on the roof.
Electric Guitar Kid was another funny little kid who's British or something.
Yeah, right? His voice.
Yeah. It's it's something. I mean, and like, what are the alternatives? That Dennis goes to jail. Like, that's the only other way that this story ends. So
yeah,
I guess that's how it had to be. I have just like some rapid fire notes here. One, when they're threatening Mud at the beginning, they have a fake ice pick. That is like weird and psychotic and crazy.
They do? How did I miss that?
Yeah, it's a rubber ice pick. They're like shoving it in his face and then like they bend it. And I'm like, who threatens a kid with an ice pick? I really liked they're doing a scene from A Streetcar Named Desire when they show up at Camp Shakespeare or whatever.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty funny. I liked Dennis's line about just because you're smart doesn't mean you can't act stupid. It's your constitutional right. Yeah.
I love that so
much. And that
much.
kind of comes back around.
I think that's the message.
Yeah. Like you can be smart and still be stupid, but in a good way.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm always a huge fan of any time that the Cranberries are played in a movie, and we get the song Linger in this one.
So good.
And I love it. It's great. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I have.
Zach is being so sweet. He makes Alex Mack's character a little necklace because she's homesick.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet. So I tried to find inspiration for why this movie was made. And the two writers, Andrew Kurtzman and Elliot Wald, I don't know if you know anything about them. They met while working on SNL. And they did See No Evil, Hear No Evil down the Periscope.
Sure.
Yeah. Again, I don't know anything about them, but I thought this was really interesting. Elliot was working for Chicago's PBS station in 1975, and he proposed matching competitive newspaper movie critics to debate the merits of upcoming films. In a televised face-off, yes, he spent $400 of his $500 budget to hire two reluctant co-stars, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert.
That's crazy.
Isn't that so cool?
That's... And then they hated this movie.
I could not find a rating, like what Ebert rated this movie. So, LOL.
Yeah. Wow. I think that I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. I couldn't find their exact rating, but I think that they did list it in like their worst of the year. But
nice. This movie made $10.4 million at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
It has a 17% rating on Rotten Tomatoes,
Gee willikers.
2.9 on Letterboxd.
Okay. That seems fine, but 17 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Uh-huh.
That's low. Okay. That might be the lowest we've ever done.
The audience rating is 58%.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
I didn't. It like pained me to jot that number down. Yeah. So we have a segment of the show where we talk about what we would cut, what we would edit, and what we would keep. It's called What the Keck. What do you got, Seth? What are you doing?
I don't want to say I would cut all of the romance stuff between Dennis and the doctor, but it makes no sense. I'm just going to say it. This woman is the worst doctor in all of film. Like, she needs to be calling the police day one.
Yeah.
Your son got hurt on fireworks. I'm supposed to call the cops, but I'm not gonna. Well, then what good is it?
She's charmed by Dennis. She is charmed, just like you were.
Yeah. So while I think it does give us some good scenes, it does add to the tension, right? Conflict, all that. I don't think that Dennis needs a love story. But it is nice, like the conversation they have. So I don't know. I think I might cut that. And then edit. Yeah, I would just switch around how the final sequence plays out. Give it more time, and then keeping everything with Dennis. And I'm not putting him down in a cabin by the water so that he's in this movie more and so that he's more involved.
So he has to live with the kids?
Well, just he has his own cabin, but I would put him around there. And you know what? Now that I think about it, that whole conversation that he has about why he became a teacher, he could have had that with Zach, and he could have inspired Zach to stay in school.
Oh, I love that.
And that would have been maybe better.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I'm struggling with this because I don't think I would cut anything in particular. I would edit down the doctor scenes, but then I really like the dinner that they have because I like to see Mud and Dennis interacting.
Yeah.
And I would keep the whole montage of the kids getting ready for their scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big plan.
The big plan. All right. So we asked some friends on Twitter what they thought. Did anybody respond, Seth?
They did. Not a ton. Like you said, not a ton of people have seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Revisionist's Almanac at Rev Almanac says, I've always enjoyed this movie, even though I prefer Heavyweights, which came out at a similar time.
Another point for Heavyweights.
In our tweet saying that we were going to be starting May-chelle, Nick at Nick Shiesty responded, I did not pronounce that right in my head. May-chelle. And then he says, we'll take you to the limit. Camp Nowhere is fun, though.
That's really funny.
Nick is the host of a show called Bad Movies We Love, and this would definitely fit into that. I think he's got like a limit for like the Rotten Tomato score has to be below a certain number, but it's also got to be like a bad movie that we love. And so this would be definitely a contender.
That's a good one, yeah.
Joey R at Joey0314 says, first movie I watched when I got Disney Plus. Holds up.
Wow. That makes my
that like blew me away.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
I think the first thing that I watched when I got Disney Plus was Darkwing Duck, maybe?
I don't remember and we probably got it so Aunt could watch Mandalorian.
Paul Muad'Dib at Trig Raptor says, I don't think I've seen this one, but it definitely sounds like one that I have to watch with my wife.
Yes.
I said in response, it's a throwback to a time when kids ruled and parents drooled.
Yes.
And finally, Pete from Middle Class Film Class at The Real Pete. And that's Pete with 4 E's in the middle.
Wow.
Says, I watched this last year for the Binge Movies Challenge. Here's my review. Great concept. basically accepted the movie. Did you ever see the movie Accepted about the college?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically accepted, but with kids, not college students. And the kids all have pretty distinct characters. Christopher Lloyd is doing great work, but his material just isn't all that funny. I would file this under Forgotten Childhood Gem, but it falls well short of fantastic overall.
Okay. Thanks, friends. Let's go to a segment of the show where we hear from people that we don't know. It's called Half Star, 3-star, 5-star. So these are reviews from letterboxd.com. We start with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating you can give a movie, and we go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest rating you can give a movie. So Seth, what impression should I do for the lowest?
Oh my gosh, you're going to do it?
For the half-star review,
Oh my
if you're
God,
new
this is
here,
incredible.
Seth always does an impression while he reads the half-star review. So Seth, who should I do?
Can you do Christopher Lloyd as the director of the drama camp?
Okay, here we go. This is Christopher Lloyd doing the director of the drama camp as Michelle Rubenstein. What a waste of 96 minutes of my life.
Oh my God.
Blink. And you missed Jessica Alba's short cameo. But then again, she wasn't even as well known. Even this film had the 2 Coreys. It would be one to miss. Enjoyable if you imagine Jason breaking in and killing all these brats as revenge when they get back home.
Wow. One,
Angry.
you tricked me. You got me. He talked like this. My play. No, wait, that's
No.
Italian. I don't know.
Christopher Lloyd, if he's
Right.
acting in the
No,
drama
I know,
camp,
I
he was
know.
impersonating me.
I know, you got
he
it.
does a
You-
great job.
I know you did it. You did it. I would actually be so down for a reboot of this movie that's a horror movie. And just keep it the same name, Camp Nowhere. A bunch of kids scheme to get away. There's one adult, but there's like some kind of supernatural killer.
That could work. 3-star
So-
review says, how do I put this? Make more summer camp movies, you effing cowards.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, did you hear that? Mr. Hollywood? The one person in charge of movies? Okay.
There were only, by the way, 7 half-star reviews for this movie.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Okay, so a 5-star review. This movie is iconic. Watching kids cut a sub sandwich with a chainsaw, rollerblade down a ramp holding a firework into a lake, play guitar on top of a hippie school bus, paint a building using a super soaker, and Christopher Lloyd go through a car wash on foot is self-care. Also, Jonathan Jackson was an amazing actor at only 12 years old. Chasing squirrels still makes me crack up every time. And I have to agree. To me, this movie is iconic. Okay, so we rate a movie as a schmovie, a movie, or a film. We also give it a rating 1 to 5 stars. We give our final thoughts, recommendations. We also predicted what we would rate this.
Mm-hmm.
Seth, would you like to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. I thought you would rate this 3 stars.
Okay. All right. I might blow your mind here, which I think I say every week, but
Uh-huh.
I'm actually going to give this 3.5 stars. And I'm going to call it a movie. It's very close to being a schmovie. Like,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
put anyone else in this Christopher Lloyd role, I think that they're going even more over the top and zany. And he is a real person in this movie. When he is not doing the characters, he's a real person. And Mud is a real person. There's a lot of zany crap happening around them, but there's enough here to latch onto for watching a movie. And I'm really shocked to find that. I'm rating this 3.5 stars out of enjoying it, but also just, I say this all the time, I watch so many kids movies and they're so bad. They're so terrible. I don't like early 90s kid power crap, as I've talked about before. This one, it just worked for me. Make it shorter, and I would probably love this movie.
Wow. That makes me so happy.
And I would say, but I don't know that I recommend this movie. Like this, there's so many movies to recommend. You know what I mean? It would have to be such a specific request. If someone was like, I want a movie from the early 90s.
Well,
and,
sure. I feel like that's
you know,
with
like,
everything, though. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like I would not ever be like, put on Camp Nowhere. Well, I guess I will say though, like if you haven't seen it in a while, yeah, it's fine. It's a good view of stuff that would not be put into kids' movies nowadays.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say that this
Yeah.
movie's raunchy, but we're pushing some boundaries here of what would be acceptable nowadays. And I don't even think it's that bad. Like I don't look at this and I'm like, I can't believe they got away with it. Like this is kid stuff. It's teenager stuff. You know, it's okay to put kid stuff and teenager stuff into movies.
Yeah. Is there a movie today that's comparable? Not the same premise per se, but the tone.
I don't think so. Not
I
that
think
I can think of.
it's the Christopher Lloyd of it.
Yeah. He saves this movie. He pulls it together.
He's the gem.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
So I think, and I was trying to go a little bit more conservative here. I think that you are going to rate this movie 3.5 stars.
Wow. You are wrong, sir. I'm rating this 4 stars.
Oh, and that would have been my bigger guess.
To me, this is almost like a 5-star. Like in my heart, it's truly a 5-star because I love this. And I feel like every movie this month will be 5 stars. But yeah, this is a solid 4-star movie. To me, it's iconic in my heart. I also agree with you, though. I'm not recommending it to just anyone. If you haven't seen it in a while, definitely rewatch it. It's a good time if you're a fan of Christopher Lloyd, if you're looking for early 90s stuff, you're looking for nostalgia. But this is a good time. And legitimately, I laughed a lot, and I wasn't really that cringed out besides the whole Gabby stuff with her mom.
No. Yeah, no, no.
But even
I wasn't
that,
either.
I wasn't.
Just Money Mud. Money Mud got to me.
Well, sure. Money Mud. Money Mud.
Oh, God. Sends shivers down my spine. Even now.
That would work in the horror movie. That's where it could truly.
That would work.
That could be like the turning point where it becomes a full-on horror movie. Yeah. All right. Wow. We've reached the end. How did I do? Did I do all right?
Great. It felt very weird not doing all of the
talking
transitions between
I know
segments and stuff.
Yeah.
I always come to the end and I'm like, did I forget stuff? Right? Like I say that I usually edit that part out, but I'm always saying to Michelle, like, what else do we do?
I know. Here I'm like, wait, did I get everything? I think I did. I'm excited for next week. I'm very excited for next week.
I am too.
Capital E excited. We're staying in 1994.
Wait.
What?
You can't tell people what we're going to do because then they won't listen to our commercials.
What do you mean? What commercials?
If you want to know what I mean, we'd love it if you'd give us a rating and a review wherever you're listening. It really helps the show. You know what I'm saying? We put in all of this hard work. We do these episodes. I don't know what that was. And you can help us out by just rating us, reviewing us. We got a rating and review from the Netherlands, I think, right?
Yeah, we did. Enjoying
Someone rated
this.
us
5 stars.
5 stars. They said, I'm enjoying this so far or something.
No,
like
it was
that.
just enjoying this and then a period.
Love it so much. Thank you, listener in the Netherlands. Thank you. Send us an email. Whoever you are, please. Netherlands listener. We don't care about these Americans anymore. We want to know who you are. Send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com, especially if you're from the Netherlands. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to all of our additional episodes, and it gives you voting rights for movies that we're going to cover. Next month is a patron-voted month, which means the entire theme is up to you. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Pretty wild stuff. If you want to have some control over what we're doing, sign up, man. Okay, now that we've said all that, you may reveal next week's episode.
Thank you. I'm very, 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 very excited to revisit this movie and discuss it with you. I think this was like one of the top ones I really wanted to do when you pitched Movie Friends to me. And we made it a whole year and didn't end up doing it. So
We've almost done this one
I know
several times. And this is a big one.
This is a big one.
For me too.
Which makes me really excited. But we're staying in 1994. We are going to be watching Little Women.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. It is currently streaming on BYU TV, which I've never heard of.
Sure.
But I am very, very, very excited to discuss this. So reach out.
Wait, Brigham Young University?
I don't know. Is that it?
I guarantee you that's Brigham Young University TV.
When I was researching where you could stream Little Women, that's where it came up, said for free. So, but if you love Little Women, if you have a favorite sister, if you're a Joe stan like me, send in your questions, send in your email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Reach out. Seth and I love this movie. Can I speak for you? You love this movie. I love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reach out. I want to hear from you. I'm really excited.
Yeah, let us know.
I think that's it, Seth.
I think that's it too. Yeah.
Wow. We did it.
You did
week of May-chelle is in the can.
We're off and running.
Here we go. Seth has a sinus infection, so
yeah,
we're going to let him go now. Thanks,
yeah.
Seth.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Music by Anthony Vicora. If you like the show, please subscribe and give us a rating. It really helps us find new friends. Thanks.